preparedness for the March polls. And well aware of this, the electoral body is well aware of the expectations, and towards this end, the IEBC has now completed mapping the National Tallying Center at the Bomas of Kenya and has started construction and installation of infrastructure at the center. Some of the preparations at the Bomas of Kenya include construction of a media center, installation of additional telecommunication infrastructure, that the location was used as a test location during the referendum as opposed to KICC, which was used as the National Tallying Center during the 2007 general election. Well, as I had earlier told you, tonight with me in studio is a young panel, persons aged between 18 and 30 years old. Now, if you're aged between 18 and 35, then you're a young Kenyan and your political participation is critical in the coming election. As the youth, it is critical that you elect responsible leaders who will be able to steer Kenya into new heights of development. But are you ready to do that? Are you registered to vote? Now, the IEBC says that the youth that showed up at the registration centers to register to vote were few, and they anticipated a better turnout. These are some of the issues that we'll be talking about tonight. And with me in studio, I've got a lovely panel here with me. Kathy Mukora, welcome to our studios.
Thanks,
Kelvin Musheke, you're very welcome. Favor Wainaina.
Thank you.
Dan Mulinge and Sheila Maina.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Dan, let me start with you.
Yeah.
Did you register to vote? And if you did, what informed your decision to register to vote?
Okay, definitely yes. I registered as a voter, yes. And my decision to get the vote is I want to bring a change. Change starts from us, young people. We are the youth of the country right now. So when we register as voters and come out in large numbers and vote, we don't speak of change. We just speak of change without getting what the...
It's okay. You can take that again.
Yeah.
You can take that again. I know you're a bit nervous.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and just finish what you wanted to say.
Yeah, when we talk about change, we have to go out there and bring the change. Don't talk about change when you just sit down, you have voters card and you don't do anything about it. So yeah, definitely.
Right, which brings me to you, Kathy. He's talking about leaders, and he's talking about change. What is informing your decision as a young person, a relatively young lady? What is informing your decision regarding the leader that you're going to vote for come March the 4th? We've got 8 presidential candidates. Yeah. We've got 6 different ballots. What kind of leadership are you looking for as a young Kenyan?
I mean, I want someone who's fresh, someone who's going to instigate the kind of values that I've grown up with, someone who's going to, who's appealing to me as a person. I want to vote for someone who is speaking to me as an individual. I don't want to vote for someone because everybody else seems to be saying this one thing. I think the mistake that the youth is making is that, we're making an uninformed decision. Ignorance is our worst enemy, and we need to go out there, get the information, find out, we have 8 candidates. There's a lot to choose from. We are spoiled for choice. So, find out about all these candidates, read the manifestos, be informed, and then when you go out there on the March 4th, we have to get out and vote. You can't be part of the, problem that keep on complaining, oh my God, my country is going wrong, there's these things that are happening, this, so many things that are going on.
And I'll just catch you there. We can't be part of that problem. Kelvin, let me talk to you. Looking at social media, looking at Twitter, looking at Facebook, it's obvious that the youth is aware of what is happening. Obviously, the youth are keenly following what is happening in the run-up to the elections. But then naysayers say that the very same youth who are quick to comment, quick to criticize, are the very same ones who come March the 4th are likely not to turn up to vote. Are you voting? And what are your friends in school saying? He's in Daystar University. What are your friends in school saying regarding the voting exercise? And why all the talk and no action?
Okay. Well, first of all, what we do at Daystar is that we've tried to encourage all our students to vote. We've provided a platform where they can actually interact with our leaders so that they can, on a one-on-one basis, so that they can learn from the leaders one-on-one. And I believe that when you interact with our leaders, you have that element or the personality to, or the element rather, sorry, to understand what they're going to bring to the table. So personally, I am going to vote because as a growing democracy, at the state at which Kenya is right now, it's a growing democracy, and we are at the beginning of a new constitution, and constitutional implementation is very key. So we need a leader who will actually follow the implementation of the constitution. When we were at the institution back in Daystar University, there's something Honorable Ababu told us. Forming a constitution is easy, you know, the creation. But the implementation of the constitution is the hard part.
Okay, and we'll get back to you. Favor, let me talk to you. The March 4th elections in Kenya will be hotly contested, and Kenyans want peaceful elections. Looking back at 2007, the youth are said to have played a key role actually in perpetuating the violence that was seen across the country. What role do you feel that as a youth leader and as somebody who speaks to the youth occasionally, what role are you playing in ensuring that the youth are not used to fight wars that are really not theirs to fight?
All right. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to start by saying 2007, 2008 was a dark time for this country. We saw pictures we've never seen. We saw things happening that we've never imagined. But as a youth leader, and what we do back at church is we have decided we're not going to take a back seat and just imagine that the youths are going to hear it from the TV, or they're just going to remember what happened in 2007, 2008 and not do it again. So what we do is we talk to the youths. We explain to them that this country is ours. No one is going to build it but us. Yeah. So, but then one of the things Lily and I remain very optimistic about is, I believe what happened in 2005 and then the events that have turned out to date is they have made Kenyan youths sharper. The Kenyan youth today is sharper than the Kenyan youth in 2007, 2008. So if anybody's out there and they think they're going to use the youths, they're going to use them to start violence or anything, I'd like to tell them that I think they're wrong.
So we're saying we're not going to be, I mean, you're saying the youth have refused to be used to fight wars.
Yeah, we become more opinionated.
You become more opinionated.
We've grown in our opinions now. We're not just listening to what you were told when, you know, as we grew up. We're now becoming, we're owning our own, you know, it's our prerogative now. Right. So we're owning everything that we've taken.
Intellectually. So there's been a lot of awareness creation being done all over the country. And this will instantly influence the decision of the youth. So
and also, Lillian, I would like to take this opportunity. I know very many youths are watching this show right now. I would like to tell you that Kenya is ours, please. Let's vote for peace. Let's not be tribal. Let's be tribe all. Okay? So so let's not fight. Let's elect peacefully. Let's go back home, wait for the results, and Kenya will be better.
Absolutely. Sheila, let me talk to you. Looking at the different coalitions, we've been seeing them come up with campaigns targeting the youth. They've got a lot of promises in terms of in terms of enticing the youth, really. And I believe, you know, in efforts to garner votes, of course, they're speaking to you people. Talking about employment, promises on creating new jobs, and a lot of other promises as well. Do you believe that this will come to pass?
Okay. Thank you, Lillian. I've managed to look at the ODM CORD manifesto as well as the Jubilee manifesto, and it's very out there. We want youth empowerment. We are going to create employment for the youth and opportunities for training. There is hope at the end of the tunnel, true, but I cannot take it just as, you know, simple, plain English. It could be written, but I need results. For me as a youth, I'm looking at something that is tangible, not just written and, you know, presented there for me. So I would be holding my preferred choice of candidate, whether it's the presidential or the governor, somebody who is in touch with the issues that the youth are looking towards or having issues grappling with, like employment. How are they going to create jobs? I will take you back to 2002, NAC. They created a manifesto that said, we'll create jobs within 100 days. Those jobs never turned up. Fast forward to 2007, 2008, there was Kazi Kwa Vijana. It died, it fizzled out. There was no presentation of how Kazi Kwa Vijana went on. So if we are having the same leaders who were there in 2002, again in 2007, telling us the same stories about youth employment, we'll create jobs, we'll do this for you, then how else are we expected to trust them at this particular moment? So what I'm looking for is someone who will bring tangible results. Show me what you bring on the table, not just put it on paper. Anybody can put anything on paper, but if I don't have proper results showing it, then for me it'll be I still have a few question marks that the leaders need to look out for.
Which brings me to you.
Let me tell you something interesting that I found out. I read both the manifestos myself. So in the course of the week, I went on Google and I just Googled how to make a manifesto. The funny thing is what I found on Google, it looked like the person who made some of these manifestos also went on Google. So I'm asking myself a question. Have they been made just to win the vote, or have they been written to implement them? Because the youths are going to hold them accountable, Lillian. They're going to hold them accountable.
Went on Google
and I almost made a manifesto.
All right, Dan, let me talk to you. She's talking about the kind of leadership she's anticipating. What kind of a leadership are you anticipating for the tomorrow of Kenya? And are you looking for a youthful leader? Are you looking at voting in the leaders that your parents, that you grew up seeing, the guys that have been there, written the book, have been there over the years, the guys that your mom and dad says, I think this guy has something, I think this guy has what it takes? What kind of leadership are you looking for?
I think that time passed way before, as in where I go, because now we're looking at who do you want to vote in yourself as a person. You go see them, you hear how they talk, and we have the debate coming on. So you'll have to learn, you know, what is he thinking? Is it transparent? Stuff like that. So when you're voting in somebody, you don't vote somebody from who you are, where you're from.
Are you not voting for somebody who dresses a bit like you do? I had to ask that.
No, I'm also happy that we thinking about leaders. We are not looking at, we can take, for example, like the way I'm dressed. So, but it's not like this, it's what's here, it's what we're thinking, it's what you can come up with, it's what you can help Kenya do and bring us forward.
He's 23 years old, he's very passionate about these issues. Thank you so much for coming to our studio.
I can add something. I think I'd also like to emphasize that as much as our youth want to say our politicians want to say that they represent us as youth, you cannot have lived in this earth for 6 decades and, you know, go to the salon and dye your hair, which is already grey, black, and then go out and say that you represent the youth.
That's
so, you know, no. So what I'm trying to say is that age should not be a factor of hindrance towards your campaign. Your wisdom of having lived in this world for a very long time is actually a bonus. But you can have people around you who are youthful, and in so doing, having your campaign represent the youth. So I think it's something that also our politicians should put into account on how they're campaigning.
All right, and Dan talked about the presidential debate randomly. Kathy, what are you expecting to see on our screens, and how will that change your perception in terms of who probably you're vouching for right now, who for you is an ideal leader? What are you anticipating to see come Monday?
Judging by what I've seen so far in the senator debates, the governor debates going on the stations all over the country, I'm expecting that this presidential debate will be a game changer. I'm expecting to see the candidate that I'm voting for portray what I think is in his head, the ideas that I want him to express for my future, you know, the interests that I have in terms of education, employment, all the things that are affecting our country so much. So I think that is going to be a game changer. If you think about like the American election, when Obama tanked his first debate, it made a huge impact on his campaign. So I don't think that our leaders need to take this lightly. They need to actually take it very seriously, because Kenyans are no longer sitting, back and thinking, okay, fine, whatever happens, March 4th happens. No, Kenyans have now become more interested in what's happening in the country, and they're actually taking initiative to, take an interest in the constitution and everything. So I think it's going to be a game changer. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Right, Sheila, the fact that, as I had earlier mentioned, the youth are very aware what's going on, but are really not active in the voting process, not active in engaging to know what's actually going on. Where are you people getting this information? Is the media doing a good job in informing you? Where are you getting the information you have on what's going on? Have you, for instance, read the Constitution? Can you pick out something and say, this is something that I know about what the Constitution says on this issue?
Okay, thank you, Lillian. There's a lot of information out there. It just needs a determined mind to actually go out and find it. The media is doing a great job. I was just looking at how long we've taken to look at the political scene in the country right now, almost 25 minutes. So it's out there. People are able to access TV, are able to access social media, which is talking a lot about the political situation in the country right now. I would say a lot of what we are looking at as a youth is based in the Constitution. I have happened to read it. Article 55 talks about the youth. what is expected of the state towards the youth. Provide education and training, provide employment, access to employment, and other things. If you go to Article 97, it talks about the representation of the youth in the parliamentary and the National Assembly. So it's not just a given, you know, haphazard choice. These things have to be made. And I'll reiterate what Kevin said earlier on, that about the youthful leaders and not gray hair. You remember what he was talking about. We need to have youthful leaders, the 12 nominated members of parliament who will be representing the youth need to have the tangible issues that the youth are facing right now. Not just somebody because, you know, I'm connected to him because he's my friend from upcountry or, you know, the political wrangles and things like that. But we need to get leaders who have
and Sheila is a law student, so she can talk on and on.
Yeah, Sheila talks about accountability, and I was actually telling her when, you know, when we came in, I feel like we should have a government that's going to be giving us report cards like every quarter. We need to see what they're doing because we need the government to be accountable to us. We need them to be on their toes. You know, they need to know that we are watching them, because I think as things stand, you know, they do things, they take their paychecks home, they really don't care much what Kenyans are feeling, what Kenyans are thinking. So we need to get into a habit where Kenyans are going to look at the papers, read the news, and know this is how the Ministry of Finance has performed this quarter, this is how the Ministry of Agriculture has performed this quarter. We need to see those results, you know, and that way we can, you know, get out of the habit of voting in leaders who are just, you know, taking our country back instead of taking us forward.
Right, and I like that you said that, Kathy. Your younger sisters, your younger brothers are looking at you as the generation that will determine how they will vote, how they will relate to the politics in this country, the leadership in this country in the coming future. So as we wind up, can you take responsibility for the Kenya that we want to see tomorrow? Dan, I'll start with you. As we wind up, just some positives and some negatives in terms of the direction we're taking as a country and what you'd like to see done differently.
Okay, let me start with the negatives. I think first, it's lack of basic voting information. What is the purpose of voting? Why are you voting? Why are you going out there and vote? Why do you want to vote? I think we should have proper learning as an information out there to everyone, so you know who you're voting in. And to the positive side, I'll say we've changed. Looking back at 2007 and now, there's a big change. So I'm really happy.
There's a sense of hope, and I love that the youth are actually talking about these issues. Kelvin, as we wind up.
I think I'm optimistic, so let me start with the positives. On the positive, I think in this country, what we've really struggled for, that has finally seen come to be, is democracy. The element that you cannot win an election alone shows how our democracy has matured, and this is definitely a positive. But on the negative is that the rules are still not being followed. IEBC sets several rules that are to be followed, and yet the political candidates don't follow them. I won't give examples of anybody, but yet they're not being followed. And this is a bit of a concern, because after the elections, the next government that'll come to be, how sure are we that they'll follow or implement what is in the Constitution? So that is something to definitely look at.
Well said. Kathy, as we finish.
I think one of the negative things that I can say is going on in Kenya and has gone on for a very long time is that we have a habit of blaming the government for everything that goes wrong with us, yet we don't take personal responsibility for the very smallest of issues. You know, we have an environmental problem, there's pollution all over, yet, you know, you don't have the responsibility of picking up that packet of chewing gum. You know, when you finish chewing, you can't even, you know, pick up that small paper and throw it in the bin right next to you. So it starts with yourself. Don't go blaming the very top person in government when you haven't done it yourself. And on a positive note, I'll say that 2007 was bad, and we don't need to go back there. So I think the most I can say is that we are all entitled to our opinions. You know, it's our prerogative, but everybody needs to understand that we shouldn't let our opinions erase our humanity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favor, as we wind up very quickly, and then we'll go to Sheila and we'll close.
The positives, I like what the media is doing right now. You know, you've made everything an open book. A politician can't just say anything and get away with it. So it's very open, and Kenyans are aware, people are informed. That's a positive. The negative is now what we see, the name calling. We're expecting them to be out there in the rallies and talking about real issues, what they're going to do different, but they're not doing that. All they're doing is attacking each other. So what I want to see on this debate that's coming up on Monday, I want to see people talk about issues. I want people to come with a plan. I want them to treat it like a CV, and Kenya is a panel to treat it like an interview for a job, and Kenya is the panel interviewing them. So they lay out their CV. Forget about anyone else's CV. Lay out your CV, and then we're going to give you the job if you like you.
All right, fantastic. Well said. Sheila, as we wind up, your parting shot, and please don't preach.
Thank you, Lillian. My parting shot is really to the youth of this country. It's time for us, not just as youth, but as Kenyans, to take responsibility of the leadership of this country, to have peaceful elections, and to vote in leaders who can actually be able to deliver. That is what we're going to do on 4th of March. And I call out everybody to come out in the numbers and, you know, go out and vote. And let's maintain peace. That's the biggest thing we have to do and remember during this election period.
Well said. You guys have been a fantastic panel. And as the IEBC, rather as pollsters say, a number of the registered voters are undecided on whether or not they will vote that day. I hope you don't fall in that category. I hope you will come out, you will cast your ballot, and in essence, determine the leadership that we're going to see in this country. What a lovely panel I've had here in studio tonight. Young people aged between 18 and 30. Clearly, they know their stuff, they know their issues, and what a challenge to you young people out there as well. Citizen Weekend continues right now, but for now, let's take a look at other stories making headlines tonight.
The National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCIC) has called on residents of Garissa to maintain a peaceful coexistence to avoid the deterioration of tensions into a religious dispute. There has been an increase in attacks on Christians in Garissa over the last couple of months, sparking off fears of a religious dispute in the county. But even as NCIC sought to quell tensions, the County Commissioner Maalim Mohamed announced that security agents had identified 30 hotspots in the terror-prone Garissa County that are likely to experience pre- and post-poll violence. Maalim says that adequate security personnel had already been deployed to those hotspots, and in liaison with the NSIS, they were monitoring the situation on the ground to ensure no flare-ups erupted. At the same time, Defense Minister Yusuf Haji said that the KDF had sealed the porous 300-kilometer Kenya-Somalia border in order to stop any persons with the intentions of disrupting the forthcoming elections from crossing into the country from the war-torn Somalia. Meanwhile, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, together with the Catholic Church today, kicked off the 40-day Lenten campaign period by urging Kenyans to maintain peace before, during, and after the March 4th general elections. Archbishop John Cardinal Njue, who presided over the Mass at the Nyayo National Stadium, urged Kenyans to avoid violence and maintain their Christian values even as they engage in politics during the electioneering period. The Cardinal told Kenyans to show political maturity by exercising tolerance irrespective of their divergent political opinions. Elsewhere, attention is still high at the heart of Kaputira in Turkana County, where more than 8 people were killed and thousands of animals driven away by raiders who are believed to have come from Pokot North. The residents have today come out strongly demanding that the government's relevant authorities form an independent commission of inquiry free from any meddling or interference by perceived powerful individuals claimed to be fueling the perennial raids in order to establish the real perpetrators of this dangerous vice. Alex Kubasu for Citizen Weekend.
When are you planning to marry a decent man?
Just.
She's not growing in younger.